welcome to another episode of Laying Down the Lore of the Old World. A lore
Happy New Year,
podcast in which
everyone.
we aim to separate our dragons from our
He's
dryads,
smiling. I've almost got
our
him.
griffins from our goblins,
Here we go.
and our witch elves from our wood elves. And generally
beard
ask,
is
what's
really
up with
coming
this
in?
Warhammer stuff? My name is Ben Crumbarber, and while I used to know pretty much fuck all about Warhammer, I now know very little. With me is my co-host, Christopher Crowlin Allen,
Howdy, y'all.
who despite years of valiant effort still knows next to nothing.
Howdy, y'all.
And my dear brother Darren,
What ho?
who knows so much about Warhammer, it's frankly disturbing. After an abysmal
I look
attempt
like
at
I'm
playing
from
Vermintide
Whoville.
many moons ago, this dichotomy between our levels of understanding became clear, and this series is an attempt to address that ignorance.
Ignorant.
Fa la la.
Fla la la.
Oh, it's beautiful. Out of nowhere. Someone hit down on the back of the head.
Someone turn them off and on again. Right.
Ben, I was thinking, how long have we been doing this?
Uh-oh.
Nearly 5 years now? Shouldn't we have
Something like
like
that.
some qualifications for Warhammer? So, like some letters before our name or after our name?
Yeah, GW.
GW,
Christopher-
MC.
Chris Allen, Games Workshop.
DMCA. What?
I think we'd be shut. I think we'd be shut down if we by Games Workshop's legal team if we claimed any sort of official capacity over this stuff. We'll leave that to time.
We'll leave. Yeah, thanks, because I enjoy being sued.
He's got the look of a man who likes to be in court. I don't know what that is.
I have the look of a man who has just found out he's going into court.
Yeah, and then attempted to end it all by licking a plug socket.
Meh. Well, this is my big hair for the final Chaos Dwarf episode.
Oh
Let's do big,
Oh,
big
hold
hair
on.
for big
Hold on.
hats.
Let's get the fucking hair up. Crowell, hair up, please.
This is up as I can get, hun. I'm 40 now.
Said the
This
vicar.
I heard someone say, I forgot which comedy show it was, but they said a girl asked them, "So, how big is your dick?" And the guy said, "Do you know what? It's as big as it's ever going to be. Let's go to bed."
That's just
Classy.
quite a conversation starter.
Yeah.
I want to be at that party.
Well, what's
She
the other one?
asked.
The other one's, it's quite an old
Yeah.
joke, but it's the
Casual.
guy walks out of a bedroom. Guy walks out of a bathroom with a very small erect penis, and the woman he's with goes, "Who are you going to please with that?" And he goes, "Myself."
Crowell's
Welcome
not
to
laughing.
laying down the manosphere. Yeah.
And now we know how Chris did not laugh, and now we all know how big his penis is.
Hey, it's cold, all right?
Get away.
Wow, we've started early. Yeah.
Right. Enough. Bans. Bans.
Hello, Reichland. It's time for Sarah's recap.
And what are attached to small penises? Small people like Chaos Dwarves. Great segue.
Segue.
It was planned all along. It was planned all along.
I declare segue.
We looked at three Chaos Dwarf viewers.
What did we look at, Chris?
Three Chaos Dwarf viewers. And the first one was Astrogoth Ironhand. The second...
God, Malaysian's
I
a
don't know how-
beautiful language, isn't it?
I don't know how to pronounce the second one. Drazhoath, the Ashen. Drazhoath,
Yeah.
the Ashen.
Drazoth.
Yeah.
Drazoth.
Drazoth, the Ashen. Okay. Enunciate, Crown.
Drazoth from Yorkshire.
Hey up, Drazoth. Hey up, Ducky.
Hey up, Drazoth. There's
Sounds
trouble
like a
in
cleaning
Mill.
product.
There's trouble with slaves.
Hi, I'm Barry Scott. Have you used Drazov?
Hi, I'm Drazov. Have you ever used Barry Scott? Yes.
Hi, I'm Barry Scott. Have you ever seen a grown man naked? Well, use Drazov.
What happened to that legend? He was all over the place.
He's just waiting. He's just waiting.
Do they just kind of like unbox him once in a while?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah. They power
unleash the Barry Scott.
Well, there's a terrifying idea. Potential Barry Scott. He's everywhere.
Barry Scott potential. Everything
like
has Barry Scott potential.
He's like the Santa of cleaning.
I'm surprised that he hasn't made an appearance on like Strictly or Celebrity Jungle, Get Me Out of Here, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Celebrity Chunk. What?
I'd watch that. I don't know what that is.
I'm in that, I think.
I think I was given some of that for Christmas. For our listeners, Barry Scott is for our listeners outside of the UK, I guess, because I don't imagine those adverts aired anywhere else. Yeah. He was just a character made for an advert. But the way that they introduced him was like he was like an old family. He was like a household name. It was like we always knew him. He was like, "Hi, I'm Barry Scott." And you're like, "Oh, Barry Scott." And then after the advert, you're like, "Who the fuck is Barry Scott?
Barry Scott.
Why does he
think in my house?"
yeah, exactly. Why is he trying to sell me cleaning products? Like, he's so great. What the fuck is he doing on this advert?
He had this slightly on the spectrum kind of way of delivering stuff as well, didn't he? Like it was always a few decibels too loud. Looks you dead in the eye.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hi, I'm Barry Scott. You're like, dude, I'm right
all
here.
All right, Barry,
like,
chill the fuck out, bro.
Just bring it down a couple of notches. Like, I need some Sillet Bang, but
maybe, maybe that's what it is. He's in an institution in a straitjacket, just rocking back and forward, going, Sillet Bang, Sillet Bang, Sillet Bang.
Barry Scott. He's like the Team America Matt Damon version of a cleaning product advert man.
Barry Scott.
Speaking of dirty places, Chris, what did we talk about last episode?
Oh yeah. Okay,
nice
sorry,
segue.
I got
segues all over the place.
Yeah, I know, man. It's fucking seamless. The unpronounceable, the Ashen, and then finally the third dude, Gorda's Backstabber, who's actually a hobgoblin, but is under the umbrella of the Chaos Dwarves. Ben, which of the three, Astrogoth Ironhand, Drazurath the Ashen, and Gorda's Backstabber, which one had the epic Bale Taurus mount, which we loved?
Oh, it was the second one, the Ashen. Because he was the head. He's the head guy from the Black Fortress, isn't he? He's the
Correctamundo,
who was exiled by the first guy.
Yeah.
He was exiled by the first guy. Terry Scott, his brother.
Astrogoth, the paranoid, the sorcerer priest, exiled Drazroth, didn't he? After Drazroth was challenging him, or threatened to challenge anyway. He was a threat. So he went down to the Black Fortress, and Drazroth rebranded the Black Fortress into the place that it is now. Is that right?
Yeah.
He made it into the excellent place of awesomeness that it is now. Gorda's Backstabber, Hobgoblin. I mean, what do you need to know? Think of peak Hobgoblin behavior. That's Gorda's.
That's him.
That's him.
Backstabber by name. Yep.
Yeah, Backstabber by name. That's your lot.
That's the saying. Backstabber by name, backstabber by name. Yeah.
And Backstabber was his name-o.
B-A, it's too long. Bingo.
I can't hear the first guy's name without thinking about goths in space. Astrogoth. Such a great character.
Yeah, blast off or whatever. Yeah.
Cheer up, spaceman. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Spacesuits don't come in black.
Astrogoth emo hair. It was funny in my head.
Right. Nice one, Carl. I feel like not not to date the episode, but obviously it's the first recap of 2026, and I feel like you've set the bar high.
No, let's date the episode. So. Fuck the listeners. It's the 3rd of January.
Yeah,
it is.
Mad.
It's 8:20 a.m. on the 3rd of January as we speak.
Yeah, what the fuck are we all doing up?
Yeah. It certainly explains the air.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the weapons and war machines.
This is the what we can put on the tabletop episode, which is usually how we end an episode. Yeah. That's not the dragon I was thinking of.
Please take that off the tabletop.
Please, no. Why does it have wings? So we're in a bit of an odd position with the Chaos Dwarves, mostly because they have like 1 million or 4 different incarnations. So I thought we'd recap a couple of them, but really focus on the 4th edition, which is the primary coloured first iteration of the Mesopotamian dwarves. So we'll just very quickly go back to the 3rd edition, which was the kind of first published and illustrated army list, where a lot of the units that we have come to know and love appear for the first time. So these will all be in the show notes. As you can see there, that's the army list entry for the Chaos Dwarves, which we've covered in an earlier episode, but just to recap it, we've got Chaos Dwarf Warriors, who are the Chaos Warrior Dwarves, rather than the Mesopotamian Dwarves that they become in the 4th edition. Along with Berserkers, which are the evil Troll Slayers. They're roughly the same mechanic as Troll Slayers on the tabletop, obviously different lore. And then we have a range of war machines there. So we have the bazooka, or the rocket launcher, which in our first episode, we showed that as the example of the changes between the editions. If you recall, it got bigger and was more a kind of standard artillery piece as the editions progressed. But in the 3rd edition, it's a shoulder-mounted bazooka, effectively. We then have a mortar, a chaos mortar, a small siege-based cannon used to lob grenades, effectively, or bombs into enemy ranks to kind of thin them out before they made contact with the main battle line. And then, of course, we have everyone's favourite, the Whirlwind and the Tenderizer, which do sound like products that would be sold by Barry Scott, which were, I think, unique war machines, even in the fantasy setting of Warhammer. There's just something so characterful about them as they slice and fist their way through enemy ranks.
Is he slicing? Is he fisting? We don't. Yeah. He's doing both.
Yeah.
Is it a crowd pleaser when they come out on the tabletop? Everyone's like, hey!
They really are. Yeah. So just for listeners, they are angry wheelbarrows, effectively pushed by the offspring of a Chaos Dwarf and a boar, invented by, can anyone remember his name?
Oh, gosh.
These machines? The machines
no, the inventor of the engineer who invented these machines. We've christened him Guinness O'Timbrin.
Guinness O'Timbrin. Oh, you beat me.
Yeah. Wow. But his actual name was Timbrim Snakebeard, because he had snakes in his beard. Maybe for a beard, I don't know.
Was he aware of the snakes?
Was he aware of the snakes? Yeah, they were the ones giving them the ideas. What if you stick a fucking hammer on it?
No, he's in denial of the snakes. He's just like, I don't have snakes in my beard. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a hissing dreadlock. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Listen, man.
I was just looking at the top one there, the Chaos Dwarf Berserker. In the little blurb underneath, it says, gnashing razor-sharp teeth and chewing at their own exposed flesh in their lust for battle. Are they eating themselves?
Well, they're chewing on themselves. They're not necessarily eating. They're gnawing.
Okay, they're gnawing, right? Okay, it's like they're teething.
You ever been so cross you bit yourself? No.
You ever been to a Turkish prison?
Now, in our earlier episodes, we talked about the additions to that Chaos Dwarf range, which was the swivel gun, which is like a small mobile cannon on a stand.
Just a middle finger.
It's a middle finger.
It's like,
well, no, you're back to the tenderizer again, which was just douche.
I'd love that.
And we had the addition of the Chaos Dwarf crossbowmen as well. So that was another unit type that you could add, an infantry unit type you could add. Boar Centaurs, which would later obviously become Bull Centaurs, were used only as crew for war machines, and the final war machine they crewed, as in pushed into battle, was the Juggernaut. Do you remember the kind of mobile siege tower with the cannons at the front?
You can forget.
Yeah.
You mentioned you could also add dwarf archers or chaos dwarf archers as optional ranges. Aren't dwarf archers a rarity? Do they not exist at all? I thought they were more hand cannon type ranged rather than crossbow and bow and arrow wielders.
Yeah, I think that either I didn't explain it or you've misunderstood. Most likely I didn't explain it properly.
Could be both.
You can add probably both. You can add units of Chaos Dwarf crossbowmen to a Chaos Warrior army dedicated to Khorne.
Niche.
So
it's niche.
Yeah. So in third edition,
hang on. That raises another question. I thought Khorne doesn't like ranged weapons.
But he doesn't mind the Chaos Dwarves who make the weapons for everyone else.
Okay, are we talking about tainted dwarves or Chaos Dwarves? I'm so confused.
These are the Chaos Warrior Dwarves, the ones who ended up being the tainted. Yeah.
Okay.
This is why the Chaos Dwarves are so fun. There's so many different words for each different type.
Anything that confuses Corel this much is always amazing.
He's already stroking his forehead.
Yeah. My Abdullah Oblongata is bulging. let me just get this right. You can get Chaos Dwarf archers in your Chaos Dwarf warrior armies dedicated to Khorne, even though Khorne doesn't like projectile weapons, and also dwarves aren't commonly known to use crossbows and arrows. Yeah?
Right. Okay. There's a number of issues there. Dwarves, whether they're chaos or regular, use crossbows and handguns across the board.
They can do. Okay, fine.
They can do in their own armies and when they're allied to other units.
Okay.
The Chaos Dwarves, so third edition, so we're talking about the Tainted effectively.
Okay.
The Tainted can be taken as allies in a Chaos Warrior army, a regular Chaos Warrior army of Khorne.
Okay.
So an army dedicated to Khorne can include the war machines of the Chaos Dwarves and some units of Chaos Dwarves. In the same way that the Chaos Warrior armies dedicated to Slaanesh could take Dark Elves.
Okay.
Because of the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so for third edition, that was the full extent of the Chaos Dwarf miniatures. There was a second edition miniature called the Chaos Demon Cannon, famously referred to as the Ass Cannon.
The Ass Cannon?
Because it was a huge Chaos Demon with a cannon rammed in its ass.
Oh, I remember this.
Right. Yeah. I thought it shot asses. Fired.
It might do.
It might do. You don't know.
It's a bottom trebuchet.
I mean, like, even for dedicated GW gamers to go out and purchase paint and then play with it, you know, this says a lot about your character, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Like, I chose to buy paint, and I'm going to openly play with this.
Chris, it's not like a fleshlight. It's just a cannon.
It's very much like a flashlight.
I think the concept is arousing Chris, and that's what he just is struggling to understand why anybody would want to have that in their lives.
Yeah, choose to bring that out on the table and go, ha, I've got you now with my demon ass cannon.
In public.
And your opponent goes, why are you naked? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that is wildly inappropriate for this tournament.
5 points from Gryffindor. Anyway, cracking on. As we also mentioned that the Hobgoblins could also be taken in 3rd edition as a separate army, or you could, with a bit of jiggery-pokery, combine the forces. You could hire them as mercenaries within an army composed of Chaos Dwarf units, thus replicating sort of what would come to pass in the future with the 4th edition. And so we see there that even at this early stage, we have mention of the kind of Khanate of the Hobgoblin mercenaries. So already it's the Chinggis Khan style aesthetic, which has stayed with them, as we saw as we went through them an episode or two ago.
On this last image of the Hobgoblin mercenary contingent, at the bottom of each of those pages are banners and sigils. Are they actual banners and sigils of actual war bands and clans, or are they just random art?
I think it's a mix of both. It's supposed to give the player some idea what to paint onto the shields or the banners of the Hobgoblin units. So it's kind of a little bit of cultural insight, a bit of kind of art and philosophy on the tabletop army, which I think was really great, because I think that's what at that stage set Games Workshop products apart from other games, insofar as there was a depth of lore, if not written, certainly hinted at, with the kind of culture-specific artworks that would be used.
They're cool.
Yeah, so at the time, a lot of the catalogs that had been published were not only black and white, but were also line art catalogs. There were very few photographs in the early catalogs because simply the technology wasn't affordable enough for them to do so. So they had artists that would draw the miniatures that the sculptors would have finished, and these would have been compiled and put into the catalogs themselves. So you kind of had to take the the artist's doodle on faith. But they were pretty good. They were on the money quite a bit.
It just reminds me of that Billy Connolly had a sketch in which he was describing a little second-hand store in a kind of rural town in Scotland, and in the window it just had like a woman, like an older woman's kind of 3-piece suit, but it was folded up in a cellophane.
Oh yes, I remember
bag,
this. Yeah,
and it just had a label on it that said "Lovely on."
Yeah, just in, lovely on.
Just in, lovely on. So you very much had to take their word for it, you know. They may as well have a little thing under each picture of the models here, just being like, looks great on table.
We now move into the 4th edition, which will be the bulk of what we're going to talk about today. And this was when the Chaos Dwarves were reinvented as the Mesopotamians kind of aesthetic. And we see that a lot of the ideas that had started in 3rd edition were kind of brought to fruition, in the 4th.
Nice.
So much like what we've done with previous factions, we're just going to run through the army list. So with 4th edition, you could have a Chaos Dwarf Lord, who was your army general. So this was effectively a great war hero of the Chaos Dwarf faction, armed with quite heavy armor, able to take magic weapons, hand weapons, and great weapons. These are great as in large, not great as in, these are really good weapons. Had quite a high leadership, given that these are in fact simply dwarves with, dwarves brackets evil. And so they had all the kind of benefits of being dwarves, brackets evil, but obviously slower moving than most other troop types. So these are the kind of your centerpiece miniatures at the time for your generals across all the armies. These could be mounted on the Great Taurus, which is the giant red-winged bull that is the kind of totem animal of Hashut. You could also field the kind of lesser Chaos Dwarf heroes. So these are the secondary leaders or unit leaders for elite units within your force. These came in different flavors, either regular Chaos Dwarf or the Bull Centaurs, the kind of, they're Bull Centaurs. I don't know. I mean, we've been doing it. This is the 9th episode. If you don't know what a Bull Centaur is, I can't help you.
God, we got 9 episodes out of these little guys. That's quite amazing. You really squeezed that lore.
We could have got 10 out. I was working it out, but I would have to have been speaking like this. And it's already putting Chris to sleep. I can see him nodding off.
One eye has now closed.
Where am I?
So having that funny dream again.
The kind of generic heroes could be fielded either as unit leaders or standalone heroes to kind of bolster up the leadership of a group of units, or they could be tasked with being the battle standard bearer. So these are guys who be carrying the army standard, which then has the wider kind of buff, area effect buff on the leadership of the units within the army. We also saw that this is where we get the Chaos Dwarf sorcerers, unique in Dwarven culture, as they are actually able to use magic. And at the 4th edition, it was specifically Chaos Dwarf magic, which would then be replaced in later editions by the lore of Hashut. And when we discussed the Sorcerer-Prophets, when we talked about Tsar Nagrand, this was, Barad-dûr-based flame magic, a la, the fiery elements of the Lord of the Rings. Was it Asgore's Breath, which is actually where the Legion of Asgore got its name, from that individual who was said to have founded the Black Fortress. Meant your dwarf sorcerer could breathe fire like a dragon. And the flames wash over units, ignoring cover, and it was such a powerful spell that you could take no saves against it, not even from magical armor, which is quite rare. You could usually always take a save from magic armor, but this bypassed it, given the heat of his, I suppose, breath, really.
And if you look closely, the mini just had a lighter and a can of deodorant.
Yeah. We used to do that when I helped out on excavations when I was a teenager. There was a guy who would walk around with his a Zippo sellotaped to a very large can of, the gold hairspray. I don't know what it's called. Right. It's quite an iconic can, massive can of gold-coloured spray can. And he would just literally flame throw midgies out of the sky. Just
Wow.
And it was very funny because you'd hear little kind of as they fell into the kind of marshy water.
Was fighting a losing battle.
Losing battle. Gun beats spear. What? So the Chaos Sorcerers themselves could be mounted on the Lamassu or Lamassu, which was the giant winged, bull-bodied, angry man-faced edition of a
ugly motherfuckers.
Yeah. So it's very much a kind of Chaos Dwarf manticore. If you recall, from manticores are effectively angry lions with scorpion tails, wings, and an angry man's face. The Lamassu at this early stage as well, in the fourth edition, was a very potent anti-magic kind of element to have on the tabletop, because it could 50% of the time, I think it was 50% of the time, it could dispel. 50% of the time works every time. Panther. I'll be honest, it smells like gasoline. But it could dispel enemy spells. In later editions, it still had that kind of ability, but it also meant that anyone who was in close combat with them, if they had a magic weapon, the weapon just counted as an ordinary version of the weapon rather than magic, and had no abilities and that stuff. So it was a great kind of way of emasculating a enemy kind of magic user or enemy hero who had magical weapons. So they wouldn't get the benefit, as our friend Peter Kay. Friend of the show, Peter Kay. He isn't. I'm just going to start saying it. Mr. Chris.
2 questions. The Lamassu, tiramisu.
Yeah. The tiramisu.
Angry flying cow man face thing. That could
how rude.
Negate that could negate magical effects of the enemies without negating the magical abilities of their Chaos Dwarf allies. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a description of how and why it does that, or is it just kind of a mechanic in the game of that's how it is?
So the negation of magical weapons is in base-to-base contact, so it has to be in melee contact, which makes it very, very situational as a benefit. I think it was if it or a unit within 12 inches was targeted by a spell, there was a chance it could dispel that spell.
Wasn't a guaranteed.
No, it wasn't a guarantee. I think you needed a 4 or more on a D6, which is still pretty good. If 50% of the time it works every time.
Okay. So it wasn't a guaranteed. It wasn't as soon as you got your tiramisu next to a hero within melee range, it just negated that hero's magic sword or weapon or whatever they had. They still had a chance to land magical bonuses.
Yes.
Okay.
I've just reread the thing. It's called Sorceress Exhalation. The manual, and it is in fact
sexual what?
Sorceress Exhalation.
Get up. Ooh, what was it called? Sensual.
Sorceress X Jesus. Chris hasn't had it for a while.
When I get that feeling, I want to sing it.
Sorceress Exhalation.
Sorceress, baby.
So having just read it, it's actually there's no area of effect for it. I'm obviously clearly thinking about something else. It's only if the Lamassu or its rider is targeted by a spell. It is
because it sounded a bit OP. If it was just like blanket, no one's magical shit worse anymore. So,
nope. La.
Yeah. As soon as you use it, you win the game.
Yeah. That's why we're going to invent a magic item called Fingers of Dar. It's a set of magic earmuffs in the shape of warpstone fingers that negates anything anyone says.
Those big foam ones.
Yeah, big foam ones. With, what do they call them? The zogabongs on the top, yeah. La.
It's just a hairband with them attached.
A warpstone hairband. That's a good idea for a product. Yeah.
Nice.
Into this trio of Chaos Dwarf hero types, we have to also add in the hobgoblins. So we have the excitingly named Hobgoblin heroes, who are the kind of arch collaborators of the greenskin races with the Chaos Dwarfs. So these are the ones that have been given the kind of good weapons and good armor by the Chaos Dwarves, and will be granted
but better.
Not the best, not great, but good. Yeah. The hobgoblins came in kind of infantry and wolf rider form, so they could be added to the different types. I think there's 4 different types of units of hobgoblins that we're going to cover. We then had something called the Sneaky Git boss, which was effectively a hobgoblin assassin who could lead a unit or be included in a unit of sneaky gits, and would therefore be able to kind of leap out and stab enemy leaders.
Only leaders?
Assassinations really in the game, up until really kind of 8th edition, the kind of assassinate skill was really only used against either characters, like hero level and above characters, or the command squad, the command element of a unit. So the kind of unit champion, the musician, or the standard bearer. The musician, if you killed the musician, the units, if it was fighting, wouldn't win on a tie of how many wounds they caused each other. For break tests and stuff. For the standard bearer, if you killed the standard bearer, they didn't get the +1 bonus to kind of how many wounds they caused. And then the champion usually had either a higher leadership or a higher weapon skill or bow skill. So you're kind of eliminating more specialized aspects of a unit to make them easier to beat in combat. That does not mean that once an assassin has been revealed, that they can't then kill rank and file guys as well. But the assassinate skill is usually targeted at kind of a character or a special element within a unit.
Can they still use the assassinate skill on, the rank and file, or do they just become like a standard unit attack?
Usually they have extra attacks and some special rule for like poisoned weapons or slightly magical weapons that make them slightly better in combat than a hero of the same kind of faction, a hero of the same race. And obviously come at a larger points cost. But their primary use is to kill enemy leaders.
Cool.
Okay,
Everyone needs one of them.
We'll throw up a couple of images here, and by a couple I mean 3, of the heroes
a baker's couple.
A baker's couple of the Chaos Dwarf heroes.
One of them is Barry Scott. Hi, I'm Barry Scott. Spray. Bang, and your enemy is gone.
So here, if we look first at the one that is just the 3 infantry characters called Chaos Dwarf heroes, you can see at the top there's a Chaos Dwarf Lord with a suitably impressive hat and back poles. And then you've got a Chaos Dwarf hero there. And at the bottom, you've got a Chaos Dwarf sorcerer. Obviously, the hats are large and impressive, as is the wont of Chaos Dwarf characters. And then we have the various types of arms and armament that you see on the miniatures themselves. So the Chaos Dwarf heroes, they're quite elaborate miniatures for their size, and come with the large back banners on the bull-headed poles. So you see that both the heroes, the Lord and the hero, are armed with what we can assume are magical axes together with shields. and the dwarf sorcerer has a hammer and a magical staff. Now, the hammer is interesting because I think that's a callback to runesmiths who use their own kind of semi-magical hammers to beat the winds of magic into submission. So it's a bit of a callback to that kind of cultural norm.
I love the stance of a lot of the old minis. They always look like they're, rather than kind of holding their weapon, they're kind of showing it, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're kind of holding
Look
it
at
this.
this.
Like, I have a sword.
I'm going to hit you with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. These are the things that I have for battle.
Look, a knife. Run at it. Yeah.
But from the side, because I can't turn. I can only move in 2 dimensions.
Yeah, they've got the curse of stone shoulders. They're just stuck.
I just realized as well that as soon as I saw it, it made sense. But the Lamassu has an angry dwarf's face, not just an angry human face.
So, as you'll notice there, listeners, the interesting thing about the Lamassu is it has a dwarf's face. No.
Wow.
Wow. You're a cock, Darren. Sorry, everyone. So, again, mucho back banners on a Chaos Dwarf sorcerer sitting on the back of a Chaos Dwarf manticore, really, which is the Lamassu. You can see its mouth is open. It's clearly doing a sorcerous exhalation as it was sculpted. Yeah. Why is it, I think, that any miniature that has their mouth open in an army that Kral owns would be sculpted with a much longer tongue than normal?
He's got quite the underbite, doesn't he? The Lamassu.
He's got tusks, doesn't he? Them tusks need some clearance.
He's on the pills, Chris. That's what it is.
He's on the pills. He's on the roids. That's the HRT.
He's on the Garys.
He's on the Waspers.
Well, he looks like he's on the fucking Garys.
He's on the Swedgers.
He's on the insert an amusing name for drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
And then finally, there at the bottom of the third image, we have the Chaos Lord riding on a great Taurus, the winged, kind of giant winged red bull. And as Ben pointed out earlier, you can see he's showing everyone his Warhammer as he flies into battle. So
but everyone's looking at the flying bull. No, but look at the Warhammer.
Yeah, eyes up here. Eyes up here.
My hammer is up here, ladies. Yeah. So it's
the hammer I will hit you with.
Ignore the bull with wings.
Yeah. So both the Taurus and the Lamassu can. Well, in earlier editions, you could charge directly into battle via flight, which meant you hit like an absolute hammer in close combat. They got rid of that in later editions, so you had to kind of float into combat, and charge on the ground rather than dive bomb.
It's more inclusive.
The kind of good combat ability of the Taurus really was enhanced by the capacity to give a high leadership character, usually holding a lot of magical items, into kind of the area in the battle line that you had that is the weakest, or indeed, if you're on a full assault strategy, the strongest, so that you would buff your army as effectively as possible, depending on the strategy you had. The Lamassu then was then to obviously move the Chaos Dwarf Sorcerer around so that you could have, enemies would always be in range of your magic, but also to seek out and fight enemy magic users, who in some cases would be as powerful, but if you've got the sexual exploitation of breath of the Lamassu,
and appeal.
Yeah, that gives you quite a good buff, gives you quite a good advantage in kind of hot wizard action. And because all the spells are fire based, it would be pretty hot.
Can I just ask? I've just realized. I mean, Crow may have picked this up already, but I've just realized that the images that you've sent, obviously taken from a magazine, have kind of are those the flags? Are you meant to cut those out and actually use them on the minis?
They were put in for, again, inspiration, much like Kral pointed out with the 3rd edition shields and banners. They were to inspire, but you could, the pages, some of the pages, I think, they would have included like just a line art version that was just not shaded.
You could paint.
And you could either trace it or you could photocopy it and then cut them out. So what you saw a lot of people do was do a color photocopy of the banner and then glue it onto a kind of thick foil, which they then bent into kind of a moving flag kind of shape, and then glued it, kind of PVA glued it, so it all stuck and stayed on.
That's very clever.
It was quite effective, actually, for the time. There's a lot of innovation for modelling in earlier editions of Warhammer, because now we have a lot of unit boxes that come with not only a kind of pre-sculpted banner that's kind of, has elements of motion in it, but also a lot of them have the icons and stuff sculpted onto it. So you're the guide rails are on a bit. That's not to say you can't get creative. Of course you can, but it was hard baked into earlier editions, where it's an optional extra for newer editions.
Very clever.
What do you prefer, Darren, as someone who's been through the various changes of the editions?
Please finish that sentence.
Darren, who's been through the changes. Darren, how do you feel about the old ways versus the new ways in terms of kind of using some ingenuity back in the day to do it? Or do you like the kind of cookie cutter, better quality, arguably, of the modern iconography?
It's hard to deny that the newer, as the editions have progressed, that the miniatures have gotten better and better and better, technically, as in they are technically better in their creation, not anecdotally technically better. So I think for a lot of people, the convenience of having things pre-made for you it is a net benefit to the hobby. For myself, my attitude would be, if you're really passionate about your army and you really want to make it unique, because, as good as the options are for constructing miniatures, you can only construct them in a certain amount of ways. Sure. If you're going to make your units stand out, for yourself, if you're playing the games or if you just enjoy having unique units, then tapping into those older skills, those kind of crafting skills, it's a great feeling. I used to have, when I played, I had a vampire army. Anytime I won a battle, which was admittedly rare enough, I had like a unit of ghosts. So I would find out what the miniature was for the general of the army I'd beaten, and I'd buy that miniature and paint it as a ghost and put it on the ghost squad.
You dick.
Yes, but I didn't need to do do but I was passionate and I thought it'd be fun, and I had disposable income at the time.
100%.
Your trophy.
It's my necklace
of
ears.
Teabagging people on the battlefield, and now your general's a ghost. Love it.
The difficulty, of course, was a couple of times I came up against someone who was as passionate about their army as I was about mine. So their army's general was converted from like 9 different miniatures. So I just bought the bog standard general and put it on my in my ghost unit because I couldn't be fucked.
Attention, valued hobgoblins! Have you been hauling the same iron ingots for the same Chaos Dwarf Overseer for the last 10 years? Do you wake every morning asking yourself, is this really the best eternal suffering has to offer? Good news! At the Hobgoblin Career Transitions Office, we believe change is possible. Limited, controlled, approved change. Maybe you're ready for a fresh challenge, a new environment, a different angle from which to be shouted at. Why stay in ore hauling when you could retrain as ammunition runner, chain inventory assistant, or even Junior Overseer's personal meat shield? It's not a promotion, but it is a lateral move away from the perpetual grind you currently know. Our transition specialists will assess your skills, temperament, and likelihood of escape, then place you where you'll be most productive and least noticeable. Training includes basic tool handling, new shouting vocabulary, and how to nod convincingly during ritual briefings. Of course, some career paths are more permanent than others, but that's growth. So if you're ready for the next step in your voluntary labor journey, speak to us today. The Hobgoblin Career Transitions Office, putting the forced back in workforce. Career changes subject to approval, availability, and the mood of the overseer. Transitions may involve increased danger, reduced limbs, or ceremonial sacrifice.
At the top of the image that we see there with the Great Taurus, we see a unit of Chaos Dwarfs, and we're going to talk about them just now. So this is a standard rank and file unit of Chaos Dwarf axemen. You see them there with their single or double-handed axes. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's double-handed, plus a shield, arrayed for battle. So there were Chaos Dwarves with smaller hand weapons, and really that was your options. Chaos Dwarves with large axes or Chaos Dwarves with smaller axes. Very few hammers in a Chaos Dwarf army if you're not, if you're not a hero. And again, we can see in the center element there, we have the Chaos Dwarf or the unit standard, and then next to them, heading whatever that way is, right, we have the unit champion, who's got the kind of green hafted axe. And then next to them, you've got the musician who's using a kind of large Carrack's style horn.
A dragon oboe.
Yeah. A drobogo.
Soprano sax.
Yeah.
A drobo.
A drobo. It's Kenny G, the Chaos Dwarf. Yeah.
I don't know, dance again. Son of got no rhythm.
Guilty fleas, I've got no rhythm. And so to give you a better kind of look at the Chaos Dwarf infantry units, I've added another picture in there, which is kind of individual Chaos Dwarves plus a unit at the bottom of the Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses. So as we're dealing with blunderby,
multiple of blunderbuss.
That's the Hollywood film sign off for when they say poof, blunderby, bitch.
blunderby.
Love it.
As you can see, so the unit of Chaos Dwarf blunderby, a single rank, which was the best way to field the Chaos Dwarves armed with blunderbuss. Let's phrase it that way. Bye. Because on the tabletop, when they fired, there was no kind of real roll to hit as you would do in other games. It was a template weapon, and the template was as wide as the unit is, and then 12 inches out. So it was a rectangle of death, and everything in it had a chance to being quite significantly damaged. because the blunderbuss would fire either kind of warp stone infused shot, or it was kind of shot dipped in industrial waste product from the Chaos Dwarves factories, the Barry Scotts.
Yeah.
So it was
bang.
So they were the ultimate defensive. They were the anvil of the Chaos Dwarf army. That would kind of, your enemies would race towards you, and you'd go closer, blam, and then it's suddenly just
kaboom.
Yeah.
What are the three guys in the middle of that rank doing? Because has one of them got a flute?
It's a drumstick for hitting a drum.
Oh, okay.
So he's the musician,
which he's looking for. He's waiting for his drum to arrive.
No,
it's on your head, mate. It's on your head. What? Where? It's on your fucking head.
He's trying to play it like a flute. Oh, no, fuck! Yeah. I picked up the wrong instrument.
You ever turn up for PE and you forgot your shorts? This guy's turned up to a battle. He's got the drumstick, but he forgot his drum.
Yeah, he's just playing the guy's hat next to him. Like.
Yeah, or even worse, he forgot his blunderbuss, and so he's just been given a stick.
He's just picked it. Yeah, do what you can with that.
That's the command group for that unit of Chaos Dwarf blunderbuss. So that is the musician standard, and then the champion with the three, let's call them butt plugs sticking out the top of his hat.
Oh yeah.
On the same image, we can see a number of other kind of iterations of musicians, standard bearers, and kind of squad leaders or champions in there.
There's a drummer with a drum.
But that's the same miniature.
Oh, so when you see him face on, he actually has a drum, which looks like a big mug of cappuccino or something, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now.
That's what it looks like when you look at him face on.
Oh, the way that they've photographed it makes it look like from a distance like
he's a drummer with no drum.
The commander's hand is actually the drummer's other hand. So he's just holding it. He's not only forgot his blunderbuss, but when they gave him the stick, they didn't tell him how to use it. So he just grabbed both ends of it and just ran forward. It's a staff.
Can I just comment? What I like most about the blunderbuss characters, infantry units, how they're looking down their iron sights to aim, and the blunderbuss is going to be like, boom. No, just fucking point in the general direction, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Basically, if you can't see your target, you're going to hit it.
Yeah. The final kind of Chaos Dwarf specific unit, as in a unit that can be fielded of more than one miniature, are the Bull Centaurs of that time. Simply just called Bull Centaurs. They would later be called Bull Centaur Renders. And so this is an image of them. And these are, as we've said before, the bottom half of a bull and the top half, the bottom half of a dwarf-sized bull and the top half of a slightly larger Chaos Dwarf.
Cool.
Again, upsettingly, 2 rib cages, and you can see them there. They wield great weapons or hand weapons and shields. And so these are the kind of shock assault troops of the Chaos Dwarf race. They in most of the editions, they have multiple attacks per turn, and in later editions, they can also, when they charge into a unit, they can cause impact hits, and so cause damage simply by charging into them. Mr. Chris?
Would these be classed as heavy cavalry?
Yes, exactly. These are kind of heavy cavalry. They are armoured. You can see they've got the scale mail tutus around the join of their torso onto the bow. And again, big hats. Can't go anywhere with big hats.
Always. Yeah.
Always big hats.
Yep.
There's a lot more motion in these minis, especially the guy with the blue haft. He's like he probably looks like he's holding it in both hands. He's ready to swing. And then, of course, to balance that out, there's then the guy at the very end of the row who's just like, "This is my shield. This is my axe."
Okay, Roy. Yes. Very good, Roy.
Yeah. Now, if you could actually use those weapons, Roy, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. It's a great observation because these are the most mobile of the Chaos Dwarf units. Right. So they do spend a lot of their time charging around. So
cantering.
They canter. They trot into battle. Yeah,
extended
commence
trot.
Battle trot. I've got the battle trots.
I've got. Yeah. So the Bull Centaurs would be used either as just simple heavy cavalry to combat more mobile units of your enemy's armies, or they would be the kind of spear tip of a shock assault. So they would charge in, usually supported by the lighter Hobgoblin cavalry, and thereby be able to kind of roll up an army flank or skirt round the back and take out war machines, that kind of idea. Mr. Chris?
Give him a fucking blunderbuss or blunderby. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Yeah, Bull Centaurs with blunderby.
Well, I think
but two of them, so that they're just firing from the hip.
Beast mode.
It's basically, like Rambo Bull Centaur.
But I think that would only work if there was the blunderbuss is such a powerful weapon. It would only work if when they fired, you had to reface the unit like 45 degrees off to one side. It's like blah.
Recoil.
For the recoil
repositioning.
I've just noticed I've shrunk down the episode. I've been going like this, and I'm now at my lowest. The chair.
Your voice has been getting higher as you've been getting lower.
Yeah.
As he sat further onto his own testicles.
Yeah, it's been getting more tusky. Yeah.
Oh my God, my balls!
Bull Centaurs.
There we go. Look at that.
Wow, he's back.
Hey, mate, you're massive.
With the mention there of hobgoblins, it's time to talk about the hobgoblins. So we had multiple unit types that you could field. We had the hobgoblin warriors together with hobgoblin archers, two distinct units that in later editions would be merged into something called the hobgoblin cutthroats, which could take specialize in melee or specialize in archery. But at this early stage, and I'll throw up some more images here, we had hobgoblin warriors and hobgoblin archers. And again, these are really the meat shields of the Chaos Dwarf forces. So you would have as many of these units, at least, as you would have Chaos Dwarf units, usually to act as kind of effectively as blocking terrain. You wouldn't really care that they were getting minced left, right, and center by enemy units, but it would keep them away from your more precious Chaos Dwarf units.
And is that the kind of unit that you would use to like engage your opponent while you got your Bull Centaurs to kind of run round the back?
100%. That's exactly what you would use them for. To tie up either larger units of enemy infantry or elite units of infantry and or cavalry. Again, you can see the standard. You can see the standard. Also, the musician. There's a visible drum there in that in the Hobgoblin Warrior Regiment with a blue skin on the top, and your Hobgoblin heroes. As you can see, the heroes and the champions and some of the kind of main infantry are wearing the red scale mail that's that's associated with Chaos Dwarves themselves. So that's a visual representation of them being granted improved equipment to serve alongside the Chaos Dwarves and to help them dominate the other races in there. So being with the Chaos Dwarf Empire rather than being of the Chaos Dwarf Empire. So the warriors there, and then obviously then the archers, again, same kind of setup. You have musicians, bosses, and the standard bearers in amongst a unit of archers. Again, the kind of Mongolian aesthetic with their own take on big hats for their leaders and indeed the units. And at the top of the image that has the archer unit on it, on the top left, you can see a hobgoblin hero with a suitably impressive Chaos Dwarf style hat, and then one assumes a quality axe rather than a magical axe, and a shield, and again the red scale armor associated with the Chaos Dwarf Empire. Mr. Chris.
The signature look of the hobgoblins and their hats, they've got kind of this, they've almost got like a crescent moon look, haven't they?
Yeah.
With their hats that kind of go forward at the top. Is that the shape of their skull? Or is that just is that an aesthetic choice of their hats?
That's an aesthetic choice. I've forgotten the culture that has that kind of hat in our own history. I think it's the Scythians, which was what would become Eastern European culture.
Is inspired by real world.
Yes, inspired by real world events, but but also it's used to signify their desire to kind of have the larger headwear of the Chaos Dwarf Empire.
I always wonder, like this and the kind of the regiment of Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses. I always wonder why they make the blunderby. Sorry. I always wonder why they make the kind of commander of those regiments, they give him a different weapon to what the other guys have got. Because surely, like the archer and blunderbuss guys, the boss isn't going to be able to do much until the rest of his unit can't do anything.
Well, it's a great point. Those are aesthetic differences for the tabletop only. Those characters... The command group will be equipped with exactly the same. They'll all have in the Chaos Dwarf blunderbuss. They'd all have a blunderbuss, but it's just to signify that the unit has a full command group. It has a musician, a banner bearer, and a champion. Not only to signify that you have them, but it's for you, but also for your opponent as well, so they can see that that's there in a sense of kind of balance and fairness. Yeah, but you're not wrong. It is kind of jarring when you see them.
So if you had like a regiment, like let's say you had a high elf archer regiment as well, and they're firing at each other, how do you decide what minis are killed off first? Like, is there a way for like the high elves to aim for the command unit?
Great question. In general, you remove miniatures from the rear of a unit, so it signifies, a warrior falling and a warrior from behind stepping in. Gotcha. And so you would have the command group in general would be the last miniatures on the table for that unit.
I see. Okay.
That isn't to say that there are not weapons within the game that can target specific miniatures. Like in the Empire, there's something called the Hawkland Long Rifle, which is a sniper weapon, a sniper rifle. Cool. You can target individual members of a command group and take them out. And so they're removed completely from the unit straight away.
And I'm presuming that's what the advantage of having an assassin character is that you can debuff that regiment before having to knock out all of the other guys by taking out the command. Right. Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
We'll move on to the other Hobgoblin regiments or units. So we'll start with the Wolf Riders. We talked about these largely when we talked about hobgoblins. There's effectively no difference. These are light cavalry, fast cavalry, goblin warriors on wolves, either a kind of skirmishing melee combat unit, or they can be equipped with bows to kind of pepper up the sides of enemy forces and disrupt the kind of discipline of the enemy army. As with most mounted cavalry, unlike the Bull Centaurs, when you charge into combat with specifically melee-based units, but also to some extent with the ranged versions, although that's not advisable because they're fairly weak, not only does the hobgoblin get to attack, but the wolf gets to attack as well.
Cool.
So you get kind of double whammy, double bites for your money, assuming that hobgoblins bite. Yes,
Awesome.
They do now.
They do now.
I like the picture at the bottom of one of the things. A sneaky git slap around a unit of Empire Cavalry. The Empire Cavalry are going to get it in the ass. I can just tell.
Yes. So the sneaky gits is the final hobgoblin regiment I wanted to talk about. These are the archetypal hobgoblins in terms of their cultural place. These are the most conniving, most cunning, and sneakiest of hobgoblins, armed with kind of cruel curved daggers. And they have effectively a capacity to lap around an enemy unit, to sneak around the sides and rear of an enemy unit. And so you get more... When two units face off against each other, we're using the hands here, bam. It's only the miniatures that are actually in base-to-base contact that can fight each other and fight in the combat. There are some changes there. If one of the regiment is armed with spears, it gets to fight with an additional rank. So if you've got a 6 versus 6 front, only those 6 on each side can fight. If the sneaky gets either draw or win the initial combat, I think it might just be win, they get to lap around the sides, which means that the enemy unit, and specifically in that instance, the Empire Knights, they still get the same amount of attacks, whereas the sneaky gits units gets extra attacks for the guys that are going around the side and the back. So you're rolling more dice. So your opportunity to kill more, take out more of the enemy is increased.
Those sneaky gits.
Those sneaky fuckers. And they don't have their rank, as it were, is not aligned like the others, because from that image you have kind of 2 rows of 4 that are operating independently. Are they operating separately?
No, they're all linked.
One at the front.
All of those miniatures in that unit are touching at least one other miniature in that unit.
Right, okay.
So if they go around the corner, there has to be a guy diagonally from the enemy miniature at the corner, if you're looking at it from above.
I see, okay.
And as you can see from that image, they also have a standard bearer. You can see the hero there at the back in the blue armor with the axe pointing out to the left. So it does have a command group as well.
Very cool.
Double trouble.
Double trouble.
It's just understanding how these units move. So when they move like you might have 6, 8 units grouped together. They move as one. They move as let's just say like they've got 2 rows. They move as one rectangle around thing.
Yes.
Can you choose to split at all? Can you like split?
Great question. Units? In later editions, it's called formation. So you can have like open formation, which is I think there's skirmishing and open. So regular rank and file, which is all the miniatures are in one block with no gaps in between. Skirmishers have up to 2 inches between each miniature. And then open formation, I believe, but I will need to check.
You just throw them on the table.
Is 4 inches. Yeah, it's just caltrops. Caltrops.
Okay.
So, and you get bonuses for ranged, being targeted by ranged combat if you're a skirmisher, but you get a significant debuff if you're charged. because you're not in any kind of position or
right.
formation to receive a charge. Mr. Chris?
But I guess when they are in, what was the 4-inch apart formation called?
Open formation.
Open. Yeah, okay. Anything but the closed formation, I guess that's harder to hit with like an area of effects, like, I don't know, a catapult or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Mitigating
right.
damage
when
you're being attacked. Okay, yeah.
You can also move through friendly units.
Okay.
So you're more mobile, but you're brittle in terms of if you get charged. Mr. Chris?
So many follow-up questions, sorry. In order to keep the formations in there, say either closed 2-inch or fully open 4-inch apart formations, can you get like templates just that you can put or like trays or something that you can just put your units on and move them around? Or do you have to move each unit and then measure them out? Does it take a while to do that? How does that work on the tabletop?
Those kind of open formations can be a pain in the arse, but it's no more different than 40k. Where most units have a 2-inch distance between a maximum 2-inch distance between the individuals. That is somewhat being removed from Age of Sigmar, where all units are considered, because they're all on round bases. You don't rank them up, although there are benefits for some armies if you do. They have like block templates that you can just slot the minis into, which you have to buy separately from the company or from different companies. And so you can move them around on trays. So it's a lot faster. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds time consuming.
A little bit.
To do it freehand, yeah.
For the kind of final couple of images here for this army, I do want to point out that even in the 4th edition, you could take greenskin slaves. You take slave units. And so here, all these images are from the 4th edition army book, or the kind of Chaos Dwarf. White Dwarf presents Chaos Dwarves. And so here are what I think are perhaps the most characterful sculpts of orcs. From the 3rd and 4th edition, done by Kev Adams, I believe, for these one, who was the kind of master sculptor of greenskins, or considered by many to be master sculptor of greenskins.
Yeah, these appear different to the ones that I'm used to, that I've seen.
Yes.
Aesthetically, they've got big, musky snouts.
Yeah.
Big jaws.
So this is what they used. This is what all orcs and to some extent all goblins used to look like. I actually prefer these to what they became.
I
but
agree.
This is simply to illustrate you can include units of orcs, units of goblins, and a single unit of black orcs could be included within a Chaos Dwarf army during the 4th edition.
That's cool.
And that kind of emphasized the use of slaves within Chaos Dwarf armies, and also lent weight to the hobgoblins lording it over other goblinoid and orcoid cultures within the Darklands. Mr. Chris?
Did 40k see this aesthetic of orcs? Or was it only reserved for the old world?
The first and second editions are far more characterful than the orc units that came after, as they were refined. In 40k, The 40k orcs used to be football hooligan orcs with guns.
Yeah. Excellent. I really like these.
And so the final image I want to show for this episode is the war machines that were associated with the 4th edition Chaos Dwarf army. And so there's only 3. We can see at the top there, we have the Death Rocket, what became the Death Shrieker Rocket, with the guys with the dildo hats there at the top. We have a Hobgoblin a Hobgoblin bolt thrower. So, the Hobgoblins had a fairly good array of units and weapons, and a war machine as well. So that, they're a pretty rounded out sub-faction within the Chaos Dwarves. And then at the bottom, you had the Earthshaker Cannon. So the Earthshaker Cannon was, if you recall when we did the Black Fortress episode, they had the Dreadquake Cannon, which is the one that had the ogre loading the ammunition into this kind of train-like thing with a cannon.
The butt-naked one.
The butt-naked one.
Ogre.
So that was the descendant of the Earthshaker Cannon.
Monstrous Earthshaker Cannon. Yeah.
Cannon. So when that fired, if it hit, it did an area effect, a blast radius. So it would fuck shit up with the actual explosion. But then any unit that was hit, so if it lands between a couple of units and the template goes on to those units, they then can't move the next turn. So it locks them in place as the earth is kind of churned up and kind of mini earthquake is in effect. So that was used to slow down large blocks of infantry.
I love the guy in the monstrous Earthshaker Cannon image. You got the two guys carrying the big shell. And then you've got what looks like the commander. He's just like, and he's pointing at the cannon. He's like, cannon.
Yeah.
This is cannon. It's my cannon.
See that? That goes there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Take this over here. What a G.
He's really earning his paycheck, isn't he?
Yeah. And it's the hand on his hip on the other side as well, isn't it? He's like,
Yeah.
I think it was intended that he would be facing the cannon, pointing at the enemy, as if telling the cannon to shoot that way.
Yeah.
Now go.
So that's it really for the 4th edition. We talked about the Legion of Asgore when we discussed the Black Fortress. But just to recap, where the 4th edition was a more representative army list of the Chaos Dwarf Empire as a whole, the Legion of Asgore list was almost purely Chaos Dwarves. You could take a unit or two of Hobgoblin Cutthroats, but it was an elite army of Chaos Dwarves rather than a snapshot of the kind of Chaos Empire or Chaos Dwarf Empire culture. And so that Legion of Asgore list, and as I was saying, please refer back to that episode. That is the army list that's represented then in the Warhammer Old World Legends list for the Chaos Dwarves. So that is the army list associated with the Chaos Dwarves for the re-released Old World game. I have highlighted some text in red. These are the units that were not in the Legion of Asgore. So you didn't have Sneaky Gits, you didn't have Hobgoblin Bolt Throwers. As I say, it was a more elitist Chaos Dwarf army list. I've highlighted the Infernal Castellans and the Infernal Seneschals because in the Legion of Asgore, you couldn't take a Chaos Dwarf general. You could only take a Sorcerer-Prophet as your general.
Right. Okay.
And that represented that kind of focus on the Chaos Dwarf Empire being a collection of mini Chaos Dwarf empires and mini Chaos Dwarf warbands, each led by a Sorcerer-Prophet or a Demon Smith. And so while you could take a hero for the infernal infantry units, the ones Chris is in love with, it couldn't be led by a kind of non-magical general. But they have added that back in for the Old World list, together with some further options for the Hobgoblins. You'll also note that you can't. The only kind of other orcoid unit that you can include is they've retained the capacity to be able to bring in a Black Orc mob, a unit of Black Orc warriors, either bribed or beaten into service for the Chaos Dwarves. That is my lot. There was a lot to cover, and apologies for running on so long.
Loved it.
So Chaos Dwarves. I declare Chaos Dwarves.
I can totally see why they've got such a cult following. They're fun as heck. And Infernal Guards, I think, some of my favourite units. At least from the artwork anyway. That artwork was bodacious.
Bodacious.
The unpronounceable, the Ashen dudes, Bull Centaur.
Oh yeah, Drazov.
Excellent mini. Excellent.
Yeah,
that isn't it. Was that an Age of Sigmar mini?
No, that was a Forge World, Old World mini. There is a similar character in the Age of Sigmar, and I'm saying that because the Chaos Dwarves were released in Age of Sigmar at the end of last year. And so they do have that kind of mini, but it's not as cool as the other one.
The original.
The one with the trapped demon shoulder pads.
Oh yeah. Hot. I love the way that they've kind of encompassed the this is going to sound terrible. They've encompassed the slavery aspect of the lore in the tabletop by allowing them to have so many additional non-Chaos Dwarf units. Because I noticed in that list that you sent, it says that 20% of your army points can be spent on mercenaries, and up to 25% can be spent on allies. And the allies that it lists are warriors of chaos. So you can have some big fellas in there as well, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think we did mention in the 5th edition into the 6th edition. Do you remember the houses? So they had the slaver house, you had the kind of eugenics house. Yeah. Each one had a unit type
Ashidar,
you could field.
Cash, and Hagen.
Look at him, he's all over it. He's all over it. He's wiping the floor at you, Chris.
Christ. What have you done with Ben?
But I think those were really flavorful and further encaptured that kind of selective breeding, potions, eugenics style, and the kind of slavery aspect of the Chaos Dwarf culture, which then didn't make it into the 6th edition Get You By army list, which was largely the same as the 4th edition that we've covered in detail today. I do want to say I'm incredibly grateful to the members of the Chaos Dwarf Online Discord and website and community, because without them, we would have had 4 episodes, and we ended up with 9 episodes. And so a huge shout out to them, and we'll make sure to include links for them as we sign off for the Chaos Dwarves. But I really like them. I started these were yet another Bretonnian faction for me. I preferred what then became the Tainted, the kind of Chaos Warrior Chaos Dwarves. But yeah, I really like them. Yeah.
They're not as, you don't have to take them as seriously as some of the other ones in a good way. They just kind of do their own thing in their own little corner of the old world. Not, fine.
They're just
slaving. But in general, not really hurting anyone. You know what I mean? Apart from the old slaving. We'll ignore that. We can allow it.
Apart from all the slaves.
We can allow it. Can we?
Darren will allow it.
But I mean, to some degree, they're also a massive help to all of the quote unquote good factions, because they primarily enslave quote unquote bad factions, don't they?
The orcs and mainly largely orcs and goblins. So
the dwarves
and keep the ogres at bay from kind of chewing their way through the rest of the Warhammer world. The counterpoint to that is that they arm and armor most of the evil factions in some way.
Okay.
Either
point
to
countered.
Point countered. The thing that really troubles me is that they are like a truly evil faction because of their tyranny and dominance and
slavery,
bullying and stuff. It's offset by comedy big hats. You're disarmed by.
Yeah.
Come for the hats, stay for the slavery. No thanks.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if you take those big hats away, you end up with the Infernal Guard and I guess some of the AOS minis are a little bit more kind of stylized and less big hats and kind of more angular. Once you remove the big hats, they're actually pretty fearsome looking buggers, aren't they?
Yeah. They look as evil as they are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the wolf in sheep's hats.
Yeah. I can think of a number of people in the real world on the public stage at the minute who would be made significantly less evil if we just gave them a massive hat.
So anyway, yes, Chaos Dwarfs, I fucking love them. They're great. I know I have some Chaos Dwarf minis in the back of a cupboard somewhere, so I'm going to dig them out and get them painted up this year with my new fancy paint sets. Video followers, these are my new fancy paints.
Ooh.
Yeah,
lucky boy.
That's it. Ooh. So, new faction next time.
Yes, please.
Well, yeah.
Are you allowed to tell us where we're going? Or do we have to wait till the wait?
No.
You have to wait to the wait episode. So my words, so excited.
You need to just calm down. Right, I am wrapping up. All right, that's all from us. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more Old World content, just hit the link in the description and sign up today to listen to our bonus show, Chunks of Dar. Details and imagery for the topics we've discussed in this show can be found on our website at layingdownthelore.com, where we also have all our previous episodes, release schedules, and merch. And you can join our Discord for free by hitting the link in the description and coming and telling us what you think of large hats, I guess, and the effect that they have on evil, or at least the perception of evil. We'll be back again soon, displaying just how little Pral and I know. And until then, cheerio.
Blunder bye.
Slavery!
Yay!